hiccup there, but we are now getting started. Yeah, there's a weird hiccup. So OBS dropped all my mics, all multiple of them. So I'm now fighting with it just for a second, and Twitch says that the machine got unplugged. So it should be back in a minute, however. Yeah, there it goes. Pop back up. Okay, so I'm going to pop back over to the screen now and talk a little bit about what we did last session, what we're about to do this session. All right, so Terraform fields. All right, last session, I broke things out. The 5 different nodes are individual declarations, and generally I made a mess of the whole repo. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to have a good example in which to work from to start to actually break these things apart and modularize them with Terraform modules. And that's what I'm going to start out doing here in this session today. So, and as always, you can follow along. Go grab the repo. If you've got it set up with your credentials and everything, you can deploy against GCP with me. Of course, it'll be your own GCP, and you'll have to pay your own bill for that, but you get the idea. So right now, pull up GCP and see what I do or don't have in my repo there. Got the project selected, and I shouldn't have anything running right now. Yeah, nothing. So let's go back here, open this up in code. Don't need my Go project open. Yeah, save all that stuff. And then we're going to actually open this up. All right. Just a quick review. My creator basically goes through, make sure I have state set up in one of the object stores in Gcloud, and then just goes through, initializes, and then applies stuff. There's another, whatever, later. Let's go ahead and run that sucker, get it going, and that will get us back to where we were working from in the previous session. Unless, of course, we have a few little things to debug. JDWT token. So that usually means that I don't have my Gcloud auth login authenticated or something like that. The token is out of whack. So I'm going to sign back in. Now note, of course, I've already signed in here, which is one thing. But then this is re-verifying and allowing me to have access via Gcloud, which I need in order to use Terraform. All right, so that, I didn't really want to close the console. All right, so that's working. Does it say? Okay, I'm logged in as me with my current project selected. All right, yeah, and I don't want to change that. That is what I want to work against. So I'm going to try to create again. Cannot fetch 400 bad request. I'm just going to go look out here in the storage section real quick. Make sure, okay, I've got nothing there. Already, yeah, that's some old junk. Cannot fetch. So usually when this is the situation, I just often fix this simply by going out to IAM, go to my service accounts, go to the one that I'm using, which is this one, and I create a new key for this particular machine. I think what I did was I deprecated the old ones, and that meant the key that I have on this machine is out of date. Where did it just download that? I don't want to. Did you copy all those secrets there? All that key? I don't want to open file. I want to open the folder. Is that it? Yeah, all right. So I'm going to rename it account.json. And then I'm going to copy it to where all this stuff is. Oops, not there. And I'm going to replace that account file. And let's see if we can make some progress now. No, still. Oh, it can't open the TF state. That's because, I'll bet. Ah, phooey. So I know what happened here. And let's go over this real quick, because this is a thing that's worth noting. Inside the project here, in my state, this sets up the state from inception. So it has these old state files. And so it's looking for something that's going to exist or not exist, and it's never even, this timeline has never even started. So I need to create that from scratch. I believe, no. Let's go in, let's not use my script file, we'll go in and actually take a look at this. Terraform, init, and what do we get? Alright, so it's pulled down the dependencies, which is basically the Google Cloud requirement, and then we'll do a Terraform plan. It says that, alright, Terraform apply, and I do want to build that storage bucket. Alright, so we have it doesn't like my storage bucket creation option. It's not cool. If I just use Gcloud to create a storage bucket, let's see what happens there. This is where they've got this extra thing now. So gsutil make bucket, I guess. My new bucket. My new bucket already exists? That's bullshit. Storage browser. No, there's no bucket here. Test bucket. All right, so that created a test bucket. And it gets the read fine, so why can't it? Yeah, so you want to add it. One error occurred. Google Storage Bucket cannot fetch token. Must be a short-lived token in an irreducible time frame. So I just Gcloud auth login. I just did that. So I am logged in. Oh, this could be. This is going to be a weird situation, I bet. I'm going to actually shut down and restart this machine. And I'll tell you why. Because I restarted this, or I started it back up from a saved state from like a week or two ago, whenever it was the last time that I was actually working on this. So I bet the machine state and all sorts of stuff are completely horked up. So we're going to actually restart from scratch and give that a try again. State. Let's see if we can get make sure this is as up to date as possible. All right. Application default. Okay, whatever. And then we'll do Terraform init. Terraform plan, Terraform apply. Yes, please do this. Ah, exactly what I thought. So it was the fact that the machine state, the state of the actual machine where I'm running this stuff from was just out of whack. So that's fixed. I'm gonna go back to the console here, and then let's go back out to the root here, go to, I'll just open up code, next. And let's do this. I would use the terminal, but it gets a little flaky after it's been running for a minute, so I'm going to keep my native Ubuntu terminal over here running. We'll do create. Let's start working on building out the infrastructure. Once building that out, I can go ahead and start doing a little bit of work. I'm going to make a folder called modules. Whoops, that is not what I did, obviously. A folder called modules to put our modules in. And then inside of modules, I'm going to call one Cassandra. And then one is going to be data stacks enterprise. Or actually, we'll just shorten it out to data stacks enterprise, DSE. Whoops, that ended up in the wrong place. Move. And then we'll call one. These are ending up all over the place. Let's call it developer dev development network. And we'll call one production network. So what happened here? Let's hear it. Address balancer already exists. Let's do a destroy. We'll take a look at what is going on out here. So VPC network. What do we have out here? Oh, I have some existing junk. So let's go through and delete that stuff real quick. I clearly didn't clean this stuff up whenever I was messing with it last time. Do I have a Kubernetes engine? Should have none. All right, and then compute engine, also none. All right, things look empty. All right, so that's fussing about something. What is it fussing about? Just delete. All right, so all that stuff looks cleared out. Run delete one more time. Destroy. Yeah, okay. That should be good. So I'm starting from a clear machine here, or clear environment. Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to create it from scratch. That should get us back into the state that we were in previously, where we have 5 instances running, 1 Bastion server, 2 networks with 2 respective subnetworks in each, one in West 1, one in East 1. And yeah, I think that's where we left off. So that's the steps I'm just running right over here now. And we have no modules, no nothing, just kind of a messy project. I just made these folders and I'm going to put in the various things here. Let's call it node address, TF. That's where we'll put our actual internal or external IP address resources that we need. And then we'll have, let's say, node.tf. That's will be our specification for the node resource that we build for each node in the Cassandra cluster. And basically, if we review what we did last time, there is one of the addresses for an internal address, and there's a resource for a node, as is currently. What does it say? Error creating address, Google API, Bastion A, balancer. So let's take a look at that. We're going to need to troubleshoot this out real quick. So Bastion A has a public address, Google Compute address resource that is being created. So I'm going to go out here. We'll look at VPC networks. And it looks like it's just not even being created right now. So it gets to weird. So, no, okay, there's the two networks are being created. The IP addresses should be being created. Ah, here we go. So these two are in goodness only knows what state. So let's knock those out. Releasing IP addresses. So when that's done, I should be able to run this again, and it should actually apply correctly. We should see those addresses pop up in a second. All right, there. So let's see here. I don't know what the balancer one is for. I need to look at what we created last time. But Bastion A is just for the Bastion server, and then the other internal ones will pop up already assigned to the actual instances. So if I go over to instances, we can see the instances created. There we go, we got 5 instances. A is the Bastion server, and it has an external IP, so I can connect to it, et cetera, et cetera. So I can get my Gcloud command from here, and then just basically go over here and connect to that particular instance. There we go. All right, I'm connected to A, which is the Bastion server. Should probably give that a better name. And since I'm doing quite a bit of refactoring, let's actually do that. I'm going to get out of the Bastion server. There we go. Go back over here. And this is, let's call it the Bastion. We'll call this the Bastion. We'll call this the Bastion Addy for address. All right, there we go. So this is the public IP resource right here, and then this is the Bastion server that's being created. A little later we'll dive back into a provisioner to run stuff on the Bastion server. All right, so if we look at this, let's just take it and we'll start to break this out. So I don't really want 5 different TF files, or one for each node in the cluster. Like maybe I want to do a bunch of these, create a bunch of these instances. I don't want a bunch of files out here for it. What I want is something that I can use over and over. And that's where a module comes into play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually copy one of these like this. And then I'm going to pop it up here. Just copy paste it. And I'm going to take the address and I'm going to actually put it in this file. So the way a module works in Terraform is it can be a directory in the project like this, or it can be a Git repo unto itself out there on the web. Or you can even go out here and go Terraform, interesting. So that must have been running something in the background. So if I go out here and I say modules, using modules, and then I can scroll through here. This gives you a little rundown. Basically, this is how easy it is to define one. Thanks, advertisement. Don't need you right now. And there's also a registry. So you can have a private registry or you can use the public registry. The Terraform registry, if we go check it out for a minute, has all sorts of stuff on here. Let's look up GCP. Oh, probably want to do Google. There we go. So we got a Nomad module, a load balancer internal, a NAT gateway, Vault module, whole bunch of stuff, right? All types of things for use in Google Cloud. So, and here's you can filter by. I'm going to do that and then just take away that search result and just do this. Maybe I can just get just everything from it. Anyway, there's a bunch of them out there. So like if I scroll down and it says 62 modules. So if I scroll in here, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Firewall, service accounts, node pool, Kubernetes engine, right? All sorts of things. And what each of these has listed in here is the inputs and outputs. So like outputs are important because these are things that you can get back and then work with in other modules, like passing it back and forth into other modules or into your main.tf or whatever you need. So the outputs are very important. The inputs are things that you can pass in from variables in your Terraform sources. So let's take a look at declaring one. Like this is how you declare one, right? All you basically need is a module and the source, basically where that thing's going to be located at. In this particular case, like if it's a Git repo, you need to have the Git path to the resource out on the web. So you can actually pull them from the web. As with anything you pull off the web though, think about it, make sure it's reliable, and that it's not going to change in ways that are going to break your systems. You want to make sure that's very much taken care of. So what I've done so far to break this out is I'm going to have a module in the modules directory and then broken out to the specific type of module by folder. Inside of that folder, everything included in that folder is going to be part of that module. For the Cassandra one, I'm going to have a node address and I'm going to have a node instance, right? So now the way I'm going to declare that though is out at the root of the project. Just need a file, and actually I don't even need a file. I'm just going to put it in the main folder just like this. So basically I have some of my stuff in here already, as you can see, just the network stuff and everything, and we'll clean that up in a minute. But right now I want to go ahead and add one of the modules here, which is going to be the Cassandra module. So what that's going to be is module oh, that's that thing that's blowing up. That's cool. Be frustrating. So all right, module, we'll call it, let's say node 1. And then source is going to be, basically this is the dot path, so I can do // or just I'm starting from where I'm at, and I'll do modules, Cassandra, just like that. Okay, now if there's anything that I want to include in this to pass into it, I would declare it in this section. And the way I'm going to want to do that is mostly with variables and things like that, or I'll pass in properties of systems like this Google Compute Network dev network name, you know, those types of things. So I'm going to go back up here though, and let's figure out what we actually need to we can leave, because it's just going to be the same in every one, just like the image here, Ubuntu minimal 1804. I want to use that base image for every single node that spools up. Zone, I want everything to be in West 1A, at least right now. Same thing with machine type, don't really need to change that. However, name, I do need to change. So let's turn this into a variable. We'll call it var.node name, like that. And this I'm just going to call node 0. And then go down here. I'm going to call this, let's see, be West 1. So var.node SubNetwork. And then var.node address. Now the reason I'm breaking it down to just like node address, node subnetwork, etc., is these are going to be values that are passed into the module. The module isn't going to have these values specifically, right? These are things that are going to come out of the root instantiating Terraform execution, which is going to be the main file, the stuff in the root directory. In this module directory, however, it's going to need things passed in to be able to create dynamically this particular node, and in the case of the address, this particular address. So here I also want to add a, let's see, var dot, call it address IP. I don't really know why that's called it address. It seems like that gets a little overloaded. And then here, we're going to go with var dot, address subnetwork. And then we need to make the name unique also. So var dot address name as such. So we have these three values: address IP, address subnetwork, and address name. And in the node, we have node name, node subnetwork, and node address. These three values for each of these resources, so for a total of 6, need to be passed in when, in the main, I call the module here. So let's go ahead and do node, node name, node something, subnetwork, and node address. So subnetwork and node address. Node subnetwork, node address. Right. And then I really don't like that naming. So there's a node address, and then there's a address IP, which is really that. So if I do, let's call this node 0 address. If I do that, I can actually go back over to node and change this to Google compute address dot thing, and then I can go with address. So that's what I actually need. So this makes it two values. And this subnetwork is actually going to be the same as the one in the address too. So what I could say is just, let's go with just subnetwork, like so. There we go. So that's really 1, 2, 3, 4 values. So I'm going to create another file. I'll call this variables.tf. So we need to get the variables file going here. So let's see, what do we got? We got these 3. Take them over here and say variable address name. Oops. Variable address IP and variable subnetwork. Right? Yeah. Okay. Then for the node, subnetwork and node name. So I'm going to actually put that up here. Variable node name. Boom. Just like that. Now, let's see here. I'm going to give a description. Name of the node to create. Instance to create. And this is address name. The name of the address resource to create. The internal IP address of the instance being created. There we go. then description for subnetwork is the subnetwork to create the node, the instance in. Now, the subnetwork has to be one of the subnetworks that's in what I've got hard-coded here as US West 1A. So I should go ahead, let's go ahead and fix that. That needs to be dynamic, so we'll call it var node zone. And that should be okay because it's going to pick zone automatically. There we go. Variable, oops, node zone, description equals the zone where the instance will be created. Now, this of course needs to be assigned per where the actual subnetwork is going to be. So it's important to get that meshed up right. So if I go back over here to main, where I've declared my module, it's your USS 1A, so we'll do node zone equals that value. And then node address is going to be 10.1.0. We'll go with 5. Subnetwork is dev sub east. We want to do dev sub west 1. I basically want this google.dev west 1 with the self link. Oops. That'll add this sublink, and then the node name, we'll just call this node 1, just to be whatever. All right. So based on that, theoretically, we should be able to create a node out of this module now. Oops, out of this module. So since we added a module though, we do need to do Terraform init again, run that. All right, error parsing module. Did it find it? Node address, object expected closing rbase into file. Oh, did I mess up the format? Let's take a look. Yes, I did. So I'm missing one of my braces. Now let's try it. There it goes. So when it initializes the module, it'll go through and it'll look for variables and other things and basically format it the way Terraform does. And in this particular case, it's your reference in variable Google Compute address, Bastion server address. Oh, so that's stuff I changed before I did this over here. So the Bastion, wherever I referred to Bastion A, somewhere down here, there we go. That should be Bastion Addy. That should get rid of one of the errors. Yeah, so now we're down to 5. So node subnetwork is not a valid argument. Neither is node address, So basically I don't have my variables in the right place currently. So I have it, let's see here, variable, oh, no. Forgot my quotes. And then also, let's go ahead and add the type. So they're basically all going to be strings, which is also often what the variables are, because there's only a few types: string, list, and map. I think I missed one, but you get the idea. Very few types, just strings. Strings for numbers, strings for strings, strings for text, strings for whatever. All right, so let's try that again. Ah, okay. So if I go look at main again, what do I have here? I have module node 1, node subnetwork is not a valid argument. Node subnetwork. I just, assign it. And then slicing back in node 1, node subnetwork is not a valid argument. Oh, that's because I don't actually have node subnetwork, it's just network, node name. And then this needs to be address IP, node zone, I think it's right. Let's see, where does that get us? Boom, missing node 1. Address name, oh yes. Address name equals, call it node 1 address. So I didn't, double quote. There we go, okay. So the module is pulled in, determines the provider is still good, which is the one I've been using. So now I should be able to do a Terraform plan. It says, all right, node 0 address name doesn't match regex. Oh, okay, yeah, let's just, I think I need to do that. I always mismatch my dashes and underscores a lot of the time and end up with this regex problem. There we go. All right, so that runs the plan. It's going to say, it says need 4 to add, 2 to destroy. It's going to build node 0, which we just did, and build node address, which we just designated. Now, one of the things that I just thought about, and it's going to destroy the bastion because I renamed that. But if I go back here, look at the node, and then look back here, I did 10, 1, 0, 5. I'm going to actually go with 15 because I know this still has 5, I believe. Yeah, see, I don't want the IPs to conflict. All right, so let's plan it one more time, take a look at that. So I've got the same thing, so let's go ahead and build that. Yes, please build those things and destroy those things. Oops, don't want that. There we go. I gotta mess around for a second. Nope, audio's messed up. Bear with me. There you go. Now you got tunes with me. Okay. So what did not work? Okay, the bastion address already exists. Well, it did, but it's not automatically or back in face of errors. Instead, your Terraform state file has been partially updated with resources that successfully completed. So currently I'm in what state? So it says 2 to add still. So it needs to recreate Bastion Addy and the Bastion server still. So since that isn't in any permanent state at the moment, we'll actually go into the console, take a look at that crazy thing. There we go. Yeah, so Bastion is still not there. You see node 1, which we just created with IP 10.1.15. Let's go look at addresses. External IP addresses. Balancer. Okay. What did it say? Let's just try to run it again. So if I scroll back and look at that error, what exactly did it say? It said error creating address because it already existed, but we're looking at it. It doesn't exist, at least not in the user interface. So maybe that's a Google issue if it actually exists, but I kind of get the feeling that it doesn't. So where are we at here? Yes, please do those things. Oh, so you don't like my name? Oh, there's my stupid underscore. Adrian, stop underscoring the wrong things. So I'm gonna go to Bastion. Let's call it Bastion there. We'll do a dash. I don't really need that in there right now. Clean that up. Source control is awesome. You don't have to leave comments and some stuff commented out when you have source control. You can always just go back and get it again if you need to. You should learn how to do that. Then you don't leave mess all over the place. All right. We should be all up to the level here. All right, very cool. So now, right, so we got a node address, variables assigned for it. So that module is pretty much at this point kind of complete. But I got all this mess, all this network mess. So let's see about that. Let's bump this down another level. Let's just say network, okay? Because there's two things that I definitely want in my networks. So I want to be able to have the main network resource and then the subnetworks, right? So let's do dev first. It'll be the one that might be kind of complicated because we have instances in it. So create a new file, just call it network.tf, and one more called subnetwork.tf. Take this, subnetworks. Yeah, and then we'll add the variables .tf. All right. So first things first, what do we want to yank out of here? Okay, we want to leave that for sure. We want the name to be unique, however. So we'll call it var network name. And the subnetworks, we'll go with subnetwork name. And let's just add those two real quick. And don't forget your double quotes. And then one for subnetwork name. There we go. And again, type is string. Description, the name of the network to create. That's some poor IntelliSense. It's not description G, Visual Studio. All right, the name of the subnetwork to create within the network. Examples would include dev network. Examples would include dev subnetwork. And then we'll want to say like East 1 or something like that just to know where it's at. It would help to put that in the comment. All right, what else we got here? Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that one. Oh yeah, we don't even need this because each subnetwork is gonna be dependent on the network. So this would be network name. Let's go ahead and add. Well, first let's remove this. That's probably going to wreak all types of havoc, but we'll get it sorted. Module, network, development. There we go. Then we'll do module, network, production. We'll do network name. So let's just call it DevNet. And network name equals prod net. Right? Well, I took away that other subnet, and I actually did want it in here because each network I create, I want exactly two subnetworks. I want an east and a west network. So we'll do this. I'll actually take the example out of here. And then let's yank this junk all out. There we go. Some network name, and we'll do, well, actually we'll do this. Do East 1. And then for this, we'll get that variable in there. It'll interpolate it into, concatenate it into the string properly then. West 1. That's correct. Decider ranges are good. And I bet I'll need to add this dev network self-link. Oh, what is my network called? It is called, we'll call it primary network. So per the module, I can reference that then. Okay, so that'll reference back. All right, we're almost there. Let's add decider range. There we go. I still have two firewall settings. I don't know if I need to modularize those, but we'll look at them in a minute if we need to. So that's got the network name in there. This has that attached to it. So if I do devnet, prodnet, so that should be all hunky-dory. Oh yeah, I need to add the subnetwork names though. I need to add the decider range variable. Actually, let's not mess with that just yet. I think I'll create, so just having them hard-coded for the minute will work. At least for one network. So we'll do dev network and fiddle with prod in just a minute. Module new network development invalid source string. Oh yeah. The one required element is the source string. Network. There we go. Oh, all sorts of stuff going crazy here. What is this Google Compute Firewall bastion? Oh, yeah, let's comment that out for a second. Okay, so this stuff is per the dev network. And this is where I knew I'd have to deal with this. Let's go back over to the network module. And let's say firewall .tf. Let's add these back in. Boom. So for each of these, really, primary network, I need to have these values set. So in prod and whatever. Now, technically speaking, whenever I build a prod network, I'm probably not going to add 22 to it. I just want public access only, and only port 22 access from like controlled VPN, control basically rear guard access to that particular network. Let's see what that says now. I don't even really know what that just said. Oh yeah, these nodes aren't gonna, oh yeah, so I need to figure out how to pass these in the subnetworks, etc. for this, right? So let's get this figured out. Oh, I need outputs for subnetwork and address on my modules, right? Because I'm going to need to pass that into the nodes to create them. So on these, I can go ahead and delete though. So already you can start to see, oops, not main. There we go. All right, so let's see what does that do. All right, now we're down to just the 4. So Bastion doesn't know what network it needs to put its stuff in right now. And yeah, that's a slight little problem because we need to pass that back out, right? So let's go look at network. Whoops. And let's get an output variable here. SubNetwork. So we're going to need SubNetwork type string description. The returned SubNetwork self link to reference which subnetwork to place an instance being created into. All right. So as you can see, this is the output variables like I was talking about when I looked at the output variables earlier. And that can be fed into whenever I create a node. So let's go look at a node real quick. Here, node 0 address, subnetwork. Passing that in, so we already have that ready to pass in. So if we go back and look at the main, here is node name, address, and then the subnetwork is being passed in like this. But this is going to need to be one of the passed back out values. So whoops. So what did I do with it? There it is. And this would need to be value of that thing. So what is that thing? So the subnetwork is going to be this needs to be subnetwork name east subnetwork name west. All right. We're going to say east. We want both of them, right? Because we want to be able to put node selectively into whichever side we want. So we'll say west, like so. And yeah, subnetwork name, west. Yeah. Dot. Oh, whoops. We need the type name in here, so Google compute subnetwork dot subnetwork name west dot self link. There we go. So now we have east and west. And some syntax mess up here. What is going on? Missing quotes again. All right. So we got the firewalls added assigned to the networks specifically as they get created. This setup for the development network. I like to do this kind of in the order that I expect them to be created in. So we'll do this. We don't really need the balancer IP right now because, well, we're not at that point. So all right, we have network development now, and we have node module for the first node, which will then have the output referenced, which I don't remember exactly how this will be referenced. Network development dot, how do you reference module output variables Terraform. Multiple output variables. I just don't remember where to put those in here. For a module, number servers 3. Oh, here we go. So module, console.module. That's some insane reference point there. Yeah, okay, so module.console. Oh, module.module name. Okay. Module.network development. Oh, that actually totally makes sense now. Network. Oops. What was the? I need to know the output variable name now. So network development, SubNetwork Variables, SubNetwork East is the one that I want. Am I missing a quote there too? Yep. I'm bad about putting the double quotes in. So we'll go to SubNetwork East, or West, I mean. It's where I want it, SubNetwork West. I like to copy and paste sometimes, make sure I have the exact spelling correct. All right, so let's see where we get with that. Terraform init. Keys. Oh, you don't assign that for the output. Input. There you go. Output SubNetwork West, unknown resource, Google Compute SubNetwork name West East. Really? Oh. Let's go with that, and then we'll change this to West. There we go, progress. Set range is not a valid argument. Oh, I put that in. Did I? Oh no, I need to take that out is what I need to do. Where did I even just put that? Well, there's side range, but I want it in. Side range is not a valid argument. I don't have it as an argument. Now I'm confused. SubNetwork name. I need to do that. Equals dev subnet. There we go. And that'll be appended accordingly. Oh, side range, that's leaving that out for now. Network development, required argument. Oh, subnetwork name. subnetwork name is not a valid argument. Missing required argument, subnetwork name. So I have subnetwork, oh. There we go, down to one thing, all right. Oh yeah, and of course with Bastion now, we can do this and say, I will need the address. Okay, so I want to put this in West 1. So how am I referencing that? I'm doing module.network development, subnetwork West. So I'll put that there, and then the address, oh, is this bit up here. So that should actually be good still. There we go. All right, so let's talk about what I did just now real quick. So Bastion is basically left as is, but it needs to use the network that'll be referenced. Now I just pulled down this complete refactored module where I have firewalls per network that's created, the network, and then 2 subnetworks built in whatever network I create, and then the variables here, where I have outputs to use. If I want to put something in east or west, I need those as output variables. And then these are, of course, the subnetwork name and the network name that get passed in to create that particular network, whatever it might be. Bastion is kind of a one-off snowflake server at this point. And actually, let's change one more little thing. It's a little pet peeve. So F1, I'm going to change this to a micro, because all it's doing is executing a terminal. Not asking it to do anything in memory, not asking it to do anything crazy. And we'll see how that performs later. So now with all those changes, I'm going to actually say Terraform init one more time. So I got my network development and my node modules. I called it node 1, but I should call it, it's node 0. Oh yeah, because passing in node 1. All right, so we're looking good. Let's do a Terraform plan. All right. So that looks solid. Let's see if we can destroy all this stuff and build it. Now, Terraform apply helps to type the command names right. All right, so this is going to go through and do some pretty crazy stuff, honestly, because it needs to destroy all of the instances that are in those networks, then destroy the networks, then recreate the network, then put instances back in there. And I've narrowed it down where all 5 of those previous instances, since I've taken out the Terraform for them, are going to be removed. And now what I have is a single instance in the Bastion server that should be created. The single instance that's created from the module, so it's off and it's being created by a singular module, and then the Bastion server is, of course, the one-off. So right now, I'm going to go in here, and if I wanted to create additional modules, additional nodes, I could go in here and add them like this. And obviously, as you can see, dramatically less typing to do, less configuration just sitting around, all that kind of jazz. So I go, let's put them in order, 16, and then 17. They're going to be in West 1A. It sounds good. All in the West subnetwork. Let's go with node 2 address. Oh, this is actually 3, isn't it? Node 3. This is 2. All right. So let that finish building, and then we'll take a look. Oh, one error here. Error creating address, invalid value for field resource address 15. Requested IP is not within the range of subnetwork. Oh, did I? Let's actually go down to the range we should be in, because I'm trying to limit that dramatically. I want node 1 duplicated. Oh yes, let's do node 2 and node 3. All right. Oh yeah, I need to pull a module. When you add module declarations like that, you actually need to pull the module, or do an init again to pull any modules that might be outstanding. Even though obviously modules Cassandra is the same module, it needs to verify that. So now I can run Terraform apply. All right, what am I getting now? Invalid value for field resource address in with such requested IP. What did I make the frickin' CIDR range? Let's go backwards. Did I completely use the wrong CIDR range in this? Oops. Oh. There we go. No, now let's. There we go. All right. Now I should have it right. Put. So it might take a second, but I'll bet we're looking pretty good here. See, we're down to DevNet, so that's created from the module. And if we go look at compute engines, where are we at here? Oh, there it goes, working on it. Oh, there's the Bastion spooling up. And we should see in a minute the subsequent node spooling up too. Ah, there we go. 2 destroyed, 8 added. Alright, user interface. Update faster. There we go. So we got 3 nodes built from modules. Minimal amount of configuration needed for those. Oops. And I should jump in. I can jump into the Bastion still. There we go. Cool. Now let's get the Bastion figured out with some commands here. So I'm going to want to wget. So the Bastion server is going to have some uniqueness to it in the sense that I'm going to make it run something. It's going to execute a command at my whim. Trying to think of how it is. So I believe it's provisioner, remote exec, something like that. If it doesn't work, we'll look it up. Oh, dad burned it. I've already forgotten the syntax. So it's your Terraform, remote exec, provisioner. There we go. So we just need this bit. I don't need this fancy stuff. As you can see, however, 1 line per command. So let's say hi from the remote server, just to show you how that works. Because what this is going to do, the remote exec is a provisioner in Terraform that can work on any instance. That basically, when that instance spools up, it's going to execute code on that instance, right? Just like I would, at a terminal here, going echo hi from the local server, like so, and then it prints it out, right? So some of the things I'm going to do is get things I'm going to need, like let's say DataStax enterprise. So if I wanted this, go out and download. Might not be logged in. Oh, I am. Oh no, there we go. Okay, so download DataStax Enterprise. I want to get that, but I want the path. So let's see. Maybe I can do copy link to location. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to do that, and then on the Bastion server, I'm going to run this as a test command because I'm actually SSH'd in right now. I'm going to wget the thing. Download. Oh, yeah, that's not what I want. I just literally want to download it. So I think, yeah, there we go. Whoa, that does not look saving to. Oh, what is the switch? Download file with wget. And the reason I'm not using curl is, if I'm correct, yeah, curl, where is it installed? Huh. Yeah, I wasn't sure if curl was installed on default Ubuntu images. So I just want to file, so it's, yeah. That's what I just did. Oh, I guess it's not the actual file though. DSC tar.gz, this thing. Oh, I totally messed it up again. I wonder what this will do. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, it's not gonna run that. Anyway, you get the idea. So then we're gonna want to copy the link here too. There we go. And then there's also some Cassandra nodes which you're going to want to run the install on. So this basically will run this command. Just going to do this as a test. I guess Ubuntu is assumed anyway. Looking good. And there's the install. And remember, this is just going on the Bastion. This is just a test. I just want to see it actually go through that. Okay, that looks cool. So we got the key, and now I can do sudo apt-get install Cassandra, right? Yes, please install it. And everything looks perfect. All right, so I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to actually just say installing Cassandra 2.113. And get going here. So let's hear this one need to do an escape on that, I believe. So actually so there was the beginning. Oh no, that is correct. Just like, and then pipe to sudo blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, I need to escape this one. Escape this one, I believe. That'll put us in a good spot. All right. Or prospectively, maybe I can do. If this will work. All right. And then curl. And then sudo apt-get update. Then adding the key for the repo. And then the actual installation of Cassandra. All right, so that looks good. I'm going to exit out of my Bastion server. And we'll actually take this provisioner. That's a provisioner. We're actually going to put that in the module for the Cassandra node. Because that's where I want this stuff, right? I want it to install Cassandra on the node. So there's something looks entirely out of whack. Oh, that. Probably one of them. Echo deb. This thing. Oh, I feel like I've turned myself around on that one. So echo deb. Oh, I need to do that. Okay, there we go. Now it looks like it's read right. Now, one other thing about provisioners, if you re-provision, if you do an apply, and you've just added a provisioner to a server that's already provisioned, or already deployed and put out there in the cloud, it's not gonna run the newly added provisioner. You're gonna have to destroy all of them and then add them back. So I'm just gonna do this the cheap way, and I'm gonna comment out this for a split second. It's gonna say it needs to destroy them, and I'm gonna say yes please with a Terraform apply. Oh, destroy 6. Oh yeah, because it's gonna destroy the addresses too, of course. All right, I'll let that work for a second. Heyo program, glad you could join me, myself, and I. Let's see here. I am just about to wrap up some awesome stuff that I built out here. I'm just destroying some nodes to re-add the nodes with the appropriate provisioning. So Terraform plan. All right, looks good. It's going to need to add it back the addresses and the instances, and it should run the provisioner on these suckers this time. So let's do Terraform apply and see how many nodes we get with Cassandra installed. Whoops. right, there we go. Getting the addresses built, starting to build out the instances. I think one of the things I do want to do on the Bastion server, however, is install something on it. That makes a lot of sense, right? I'm likely to use it as my kind of gateway DNS server or DHCP, whatever, for the other servers. I want to set it up as identically as possible to my actual hardware setup, which I have here in the office. All right, come on Terraform, you can do it. Get it built. There you can see SSH, private key, false, password false, root. Basically it's working on that remote executable, or remote execution. It's not able to do the remote execution. Did I use the wrong provisioner? That's going to be dumb if I did. Terraform provisioner. Probably will need to do some, local exec, that's what I need, not remote. Let's fix that real quick. That's only going to take a second, especially since I added it in a module. So it's basically this. So we'll change this local exec to remote exec and command. I wonder if, wipe them out again. Please wipe it out. Now, I don't know if this will work this way. All right, destroyed it, but let's try it. Why not, right? Oh, let's save the file so it actually takes that into execution. Plan. It's gonna, command must be a single value, not a list. Crap, okay. So there we go, we got rid of that. And then let's see here, how should I do that? I should do it. What is the, am I correctly use? So here I want to do, I believe this. Doop, bam, right? We'll find out soon enough. this bit. That's basically what I need. Something's being flaky. Well, let's be crazy and just mesh this whole sucker together like this. Here we go. It's a wild lot of stuff to put in one command, but hey, it's got to get done somewhere, right? All right. Terraform plan. Terraform apply. See if we get it done now. So with the provisioner, like you might have noticed, even with the remote exec one, it starts printing out output to show you what's actually going on. That can be pretty useful, especially in debugging what your remote server is trying to execute. All right, so error creating instance, resource, already exists. Oh, did it not? Oh man, the state got out of sync. It's always the worst when this happens. Terraform, apply, delete them, and let's go look. Yeah, 3 to destroy. Destroy those instances already, damn it. That's what I get because I Controlled C out of the command execution a little while ago, so I dorked up the state. All right, but that should have it fixed. All right, 6 to build, that's what I expected. All right, so let's build this, and hopefully I've got everything right now, and we should see 3 nodes with Cassandra installed. Not particularly clustered together, but installed. Something's out of whack, yeah. Look, you guys just get on out of here, all 3 of you. Okay, I'm gonna give that about 15 seconds. What's my plan say now? Did you even pick those up? 3 to add, 0 to destroy. Well, what about the addresses? Come on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get out of here. There we go. All right, so Bastian's left. The plan should say 3 to add. All right, I don't know what it's thinking it's doing with the addresses, but we'll try it. Apply. Yes, please. There we go. There we go. Installing 3.11.3. Da da da. Still creating node 0 for node 3, node 2. Looks like it's all happening. All right, looks like we're making real progress here. It's funny when Terraform still reports that, but then like I go refresh over here and it looks like, you know, it looks like I'm doing fine. Yeah, so we have node 1, 2, 3 built now. And they're perfectly protected behind the firewall. They have no public IP, but they have their internal IP. So I can start building that together, and this Bastion can act as my gateway, or there's some other ways to do that, which I will talk about in the future. Right now, though, let's just do a quick recap. I created 2 modules, one for Cassandra, one for my network setup. So each network I want the primary network name built. I do not want it to create subnetworks. I then create the subnetworks specifically for every network I create. I want an east one and a west one, right? And then I've given it a static IP CIDR range for right now, even though in the future, when I actually want more than one network, like when I create the production one, I want to actually go in and change this CIDR range so that I can pass it in, so I can give it specific CIDR ranges. Another thing that I could do is I could set up a map so I can step through the map and actually have it loop through and create these subnetworks. That's the same thing here. Eventually I'll take this, put it in a loop, and just have one module created at a time based on mapped variables. So it'll have like, if it has 3 names, it'll create 3 nodes. If it has 5 names, it'll create 5 nodes. So all I got to do is create a list of unique names, and it'll create nodes with those names. Eventually, I will also extend this so that each of the nodes that's out there that just ran and installed Cassandra on itself will actually then join the cluster. So we'll talk about that more in the future. For now, I have a much cleaner project. I have things broken out into their respective modules. I didn't get to the DSE one. Again, probably just do a pull request on that later. If you want to add it, feel free. All in all, good session. The compute nodes are still creating, no biggie. We know they're all there. We just looked at them in the console. So we made a lot of productive forward movement this week. I'm pretty stoked about that. So, you know, where is the thing?